I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse. Mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running, toes they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting episode of Unfazed with JJ and AJ. We got an exciting episode for y'all today. We got an exciting debate to discuss between Jay Hurts and Cam Newton. That should be fun. We got a big NFL trade to discuss. You know what I mean? So we're going to get into that. And as y'all know, last episode, we had everybody on. We had all of R2L on pretty much, right? And we did an all-time NBA draft, and we had a lot of fun with it. And crazy enough, I don't know how it happened, Joe, but somehow, some way, me and you ended up being the first round matchup, you know, from the draft. So, you know, they got me rated at 7. We got to get to that. They got me rated at number 7. Wow, okay. And they got my boy JJ Joe Jordan at number 2. You got SGA, you got Katie, you got a lot of pieces over there, so I understand it, man. But before we get into that, I gotta ask my boy, my co-host, JJ Joe Jordan, how you feeling today, man? How you living?
I'm feeling good, man. It's Unfazed. It's our first time doing a legit Unfazed episode with the Unfazed background with my boy AJ next to me in 2 weeks. So I'm excited about this. And we're kind of turning the page into the NFL. I'm very curious to see what you got to say on this Cam Newton versus Jalen Hurts topic. That's been the talk all week, so I'm ready to go.
It's been a lot of talk, man, and you know I have a lot to say. You know, I have a lot to say. You know what I mean? But before we get to that, we got to talk about this trade, man. We got to talk about this trade. Pittsburgh making moves, bro. Pittsburgh, they trade away Minka Fitzpatrick, and in return they get Jalen Ramsey. They also get the tight end from the Dolphins as well. Jonnu Smith. They get Jonnu Smith as well, and a 2027 7th round pick. So, Joe, how you feeling about this trade, man? You feeling a little different about the Steelers right now? You feel the same? How you feeling about Pittsburgh? The Dolphins, I mean, you could talk about them if you want to, but really for me, it's about the Steelers. How you feeling about Pittsburgh?
Shout out to J-Mo and DeVore for the Dolphins. But the Steelers, I like the trade for the Steelers. I think that getting Jalen Ramsey was good. Jalen Ramsey, I think he fits perfect with the Steelers culture. He's a very physical back. Now, obviously, he's not Jalen Ramsey from Jacksonville. He's not Jalen Ramsey from early Rams. You know, he's not that number one type cornerback that you can rely on for a 17-game season. I get it. But Jalen Ramsey is still a physical cornerback. Right, and he brings that physicality. He's also versatile. He could play on the outside. He could play in the slot. And they even talked about him playing safety, which he did in college. So I think with their secondary, they already got Porter. They already got Darius Slay. Now, Darius Slay's another guy who's not in his absolute prime, but he showed some flashes and signs when he wasn't a number one guy in Philly last year. All right, and he played a big especially a lot of the hits he was making. I mean, I feel like the hit stick was on 24/7 with Darius Slay last year. So I think what added Jalen Ramsey to the mix with this culture, the Steelers culture, and with their front seven that they have. If TJ Watt stays, obviously, they have one of the best front sevens in the NFL right now. They had arguably the best last year. They were really good last year. Their secondary was their problem, and they addressed that with Jalen Ramsey. And people are undertoned about the John Lou Smith pickup too. I actually like that too because what Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback, having two tight. First of all, Artis Smith, he like to runs a lot of two tight end sets. He like to do that a lot. So having John Lou Smith is good, and you got two different types of receiving tight ends now. With Fred move, he's more of a he's more of a guy who's going to stretch the field, right? Like he's going to go vertical. When you got John Smith, a lot of stuff he does is underneath. He's like a yak guy. Like amongst all tight ends last year, he was fourth in yak yards. And the Steelers were 28th period in yak yards. So he's going to help in that department. And Aaron Rodgers works good with tight ends. And, I saw a stat earlier today. You know that since 2000, Aaron Rodgers is fifth in passing touchdowns and two tight end sets. You know, right? So it's actually good for them, right? So another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. So I like it. Now, I'm not saying it takes them from where I thought they were to like, man, they true contender. No. But it helps. It helps the situation. A lot of people saying it's an all-in move. I don't think so. I don't think it's an all-in move. It's okay, this is what we needed. We needed our DBs to be better because that's our weak spot on defense. Let's address it. That's what they did. So I like it.
I feel that. I feel that. At the end, your mic sounded a little muffled. To let you know, sound a little muffled at the very end. I like it. Now, let me clarify too. I didn't say all of it. The Dolphins also get a 2027 fifth round pick, so they get Mika and a 2027 fifth round pick. Just to clarify for the Dolphins fans, because I probably ain't got nothing else to say about the Dolphins. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just gonna be to be respectful. I probably got nothing else to say about the Dolphins. I love the move for the Steelers. I actually love the move for the Steelers because I still believe Jalen Ramsey has a lot left in the tank. I think he has a lot left in the tank. I think he could be a chess piece for those guys over there, right? You got Porter on one side, you got Slay on another side, right? You could put, Ramsey in the slot here and there. You could put Ramsey at safety. You can kind of just move him around the field. And then one thing that also helps too, Slay last year, a big issue that we was having with Slay was in and out of the lineup a lot. Like he got hurt a lot during games, in and out, that type of thing. And so now you got a guy like Ramsey where if Slay does go down for a minute, you got Ramsey that can fill in that outside corner role. You know what I'm saying? So I like it from that perspective. I think it obviously improves their defense. Obviously you lose Minka, but I think at this point Ramsey's better than Minka Fitzpatrick. Like I think he's a better overall player. And so I like it from that standpoint. When I look at that defense, man, first off, that secondary is top tier. Slay, I know Slay getting older, he not the Slay of old. But yo, in the playoffs this past year, Slay looked like an all pro in the playoffs. The only game in the postseason that he didn't jump off the screen to me was probably the Commanders game. It's the only game he didn't really jump off the screen leading up into the Super Bowl. But in the Rams game and in the Packers game, Slay was all over the place making plays.
Yeah, he was.
He was making plays. And so I think Slay is still a very good serviceable corner in the league, especially if you have a Jalen Ramsey to spell for him. If he needs to take a break or he gets hurt or has to miss a game or two, you can kind of manage his reps with that, especially with having Jalen Ramsey in the fold. And then, like I said, you got Porter on the other end who's still young and ascending. So I look at them, I'm like, their secondary is lit. They need to figure out what they're doing with TJ Watt. I don't think it's smart to trade TJ Watt. I think they need to pay TJ Watt whatever he's asking for. Pay him whatever he's asking for. And keep him with the team so you got that defensive line still serviceable. That helps take the pressure off the back, off the backside, right? So they can create those PBUs and those interceptions and things of that nature, those turnovers. And your defense is legit. And the way I'm looking at it, Joe, now with you adding another tight end to the fold, honestly, bro, I keep saying this, and I said this about the Jets last year. How much does Aaron Rodgers have left? Because if Aaron Rodgers can be Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not talking about like MVP Aaron Rodgers. We know that's done. But if Aaron Rodgers can give you 30 touchdowns, maybe 7 interceptions, maybe close to 4K yards. The Steelers can be dangerous. I'm not gonna lie, they can be dangerous with an opportunistic defense that can create short fields, give you opportunities, and you giving the ball back to Aaron Rodgers with DK Metcalf and a solid, double dual tight end threat. They could be kind of dangerous, especially in the division too, where like, what are the Bengals doing right now? Like, you signed Jamar Chase, you signed Higgins, Burrow is there, but y'all don't know what y'all doing with the defensive line. That's that. The Ravens are obviously the Ravens. That's the team that you got to go through. But we've seen the Steelers. We've seen, now Lamar Jackson get the better of the Steelers, but we've also seen the Steelers get the better of Lamar Jackson from time to time too. So I'm not, like you said, I'm not going to go as far as to say they going to the Super Bowl, but they're a team this year I do have my eye on as a team that could, like, maybe they don't win 10, 8, 9 games. Maybe they inch up towards that 11, 12. If Rodgers can be productive with the football and play good ball. Like, if he plays good ball, like, I don't know, Joker. The defense going to be there. The defense going to be there. So I say all that to say I love the trade for the Steelers.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, I'm with you on the Aaron Rodgers thing. He's a big X factor, obviously the quarterback, but it all depends on what he can do. Now, to talk about Ramsey, right? Ramsey, he was, I think last year he was pretty good, and then even like as an outside corner and a slot corner, both was good. Like, he was good in both areas to me, So I think, and with the tenacity he brings, he's a Super Bowl champion now too. So he brings that also to the table. But the last thing about Aaron Rodgers I want to add too, he's like in this mode because he announces his last year, so he's playing with more joy. You know what I mean? Than he did last year when it was like a lot of pressure, more like, I'm going to change the Jets organization. He was getting frustrated when guys do their job. But I feel like this year it's going to be a little different. Like, he's going to have more of a joy in his play, knowing this is his last ride. And there's some pressure there because he can't be the one guy who breaks Mike Tomlin playoff win. I mean, as a winning season win streak.
Yeah.
He can't be. It's like a lot of pressure on that, So, and then when they get to the playoffs, there's going to be more pressure. Are you going to break the playoff win drought? So, and I think he will accept it. So we'll see. We'll see.
I agree.
But
I'm with you.
But, I want to know if you with me with this one here, though. Cam Newton and Jalen Hurts. I should have had a picture for us. Because it all started with a post.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I want to give a shout out to the person who actually posted that originally. But I don't have this. I'm going to look it up and I'm going to give you a shout out while my boy AJ was talking. But Jalen Hurts, as y'all know, went to the Super Bowl, came back 2 years later, and then won the Super Bowl. Cam Newton went to the Super Bowl, won MVP that year, by the way, too. Went to the Super Bowl, lost to the Broncos, and then go back. And the post was, I'm paraphrasing, it's basically about how you bounce back. Something like that.
There's two ways to respond in life, and it was a picture of Jalen Hurts losing to the Chiefs and a picture of Cam Newton losing to the Chiefs or losing to the Broncos.
To the Broncos. Peyton Manning and Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts got back and won. So now there's been this big old conversation about Cam Newton versus Jalen Hurts. You got the Jalen Hurts guys saying what they saying. The Cam Newton guys saying, like, well, if he had that team, it's a lot of conversations going on right now. So, AJ, what is your reaction and your response to the noise when it comes to Cam Newton and Jalen Hurts? The floor is yours.
I wish it never started, if I'm being honest. Because I rock with Cam. You know how I feel about Jay Hurts' season. Yeah, I mean, that is what it is. As an Eagles fan, as a Jay Hurts fan, that is what it is. You know what I mean? But I wish it never started because I like Cam. I like him on the field. I like Cam off the field. You know, what he's doing with the 4th and 1 and all of that. And, like, the person that he is, I haven't met him, obviously, but he just seemed like a cool, down-to-earth, funny, goofy guy. And what I'll say is this. I think that when the comparison initially comes up, everybody goes to the peaks of the player. Like immediately you think 2015 Cam. And you think, bro, the man had 35 passing touchdowns, only 10 interceptions, close to 4,000 yards. He had a bunch of rushing touchdowns. He got the team to the Super Bowl. He just played an overbearing defensive line. And you know what I mean? You go to that. You think of the greatness of Cam Newton. And I'm not mad at that because it's the first thing I thought of. The first thing I thought, like, Cam was like that, though. First year I thought of was 2015. Right? If you look at 2015, if you look at Cam at his peak, even in college, and you compare it to Jalen Hurts at his peak, let's just say for now, because Jalen Hurts is not done and he's only 26. So maybe we've seen the peak, maybe we haven't, right? But let's just say for now, the peak has been 2022. And let's just say his peak in college was that last year in Oklahoma. Cam Newton, his peak is better than Jalen Hurts' peak. I don't think that's necessarily debatable. Like, at Cam's absolute best, his apex, at the top, he was better than Jalen Hurts at the top. Longevity-wise, when you speak to how I believe their careers will end up, the trajectory of Jalen Hurts, I think he's going to surpass Cam Newton. I think he's going to surpass Cam Newton because those accolades are going to stack up. I believe eventually those passing yards are going to kick up. I believe Jalen Hurts at some point is going to get another Super Bowl. It may happen, it might not, but I think he is going to get another Super Bowl. The things that he's accomplished throughout his career will add up. And when we look back at Cam Newton and what he's been able to do over the course of his career, it won't be the same. Now, I also want to point this out because people throw numbers out there, right? But they don't throw all the numbers out there, right? So, like, yes, Cam Newton has thrown for over 4,000 yards before. Yes, Cam Newton has thrown 35 passing touchdowns in a season before. Yes, Cam Newton he's put up some great numbers, right? But why they don't talk about the completion percentage? Why they don't talk about the quarterback rating? Why they don't talk about the QBR? Joe, why don't they talk about the turnovers, Joe? They don't talk about none of that. When you compare those numbers, Jalen Hurts' highest completion percentage in his career, 68.7. Cam's highest completion percentage, not even close. It has never been as high as 68.7. Actually, I got it right here. His highest completion percentage was 67.9. So there's that. So you're completing passes at a higher clip, right? QBR. Jalen Hurts' highest QBR, 68.3. 68.3. Cam Newton's highest QBR, 64.3. So there's a difference there in QBR. Turnovers. Bro, Cam giving you 10 picks a season. He giving you 10 a season. The only two seasons where Cam Newton didn't give you at least 10 picks was 2019 and 2021. And in those two seasons, he didn't play more than 8 games. Every year you go down the stats, bro, you got 17 one year, 13 another, 12 another, 12 again, 10, 14, 12, 10, 14, 16, 13, 10. He turning the ball over at a rapid rate. I ain't even get to the fumbles. I ain't get to the fumbles. We just talking interceptions. Right? He turning the ball over at a rapid rate. So I think when people look at Cam Newton, I think they think of the flash. I think they think of the big playability because there's no doubt his big playability jumps off the chart. Cam Newton take a handoff or do a quick little fake handoff and take it 70 yards. Like that's Cam. But like I said, at his best, yeah, he's better than Jay Hurts at his best. But like when you go down and look at all of the numbers, because QBR, QB rating, completion percentage, and turnovers also matter when you're playing quarterback in the NFL, you lean towards Jalen. So would you rather have those big plays with some turnovers here and there, with some bad throws, somebody that's not as efficient, but he gonna give you them big plays and he gonna win some games? Or would you rather have a guy who's also gonna win some games, but he gonna be smarter with the football? He might not take as many risks. Also, you could look at the numbers and say Cam Newton passes the ball more. To my surprise, Jalen Hurts runs the ball more than Cam Newton. Jalen Hurts has ran the ball 150 times, twice in his career. Cam has never ran the ball 150 times once in his career. That was shocking to me. That was shocking to me. So it's like, while you lacking in the passing numbers, you make up for it in the carries in the run game and in rushing yards. Now, Cam obviously got a ton of rushing yards too. Don't want to take that away. And I'm not going to touch the rushing touchdown conversation because I know the tush push thing going to come up. I'm going to let that be what it's going to be. But all in all, I think peak for peak, give me Cam. My first thought, all bias aside, when it was brought up, I said I lean towards Cam. But when I went and looked at all the numbers, I'm like, Jay Hurts got an argument, bro. So I don't see where the disrespect is coming from. And the last thing I'll say is this. I know Jay Hurts got a great team. I understand that. That's all fine and dandy, right? But Cam Newton, the year he went to the Super Bowl, had a top 5 defense. That top 5 defense led the league in turnovers. They led the league in picks, and it was tied for number 1 in forced fumbles. So, yeah, you got Greg Olsen. Yeah, you handing the ball off to Stewart. Yeah, you got Ted Ginn Jr. you throwing the ball to. He going to drop some passes. Yeah, you got, I think it was Devin Funchess you throwing the ball to. You don't have a lot of options out there on the outside, that's for sure. But you got a serviceable run game between you and your running back. And you got a defense that's going to give you opportunities a lot of Super Bowl. They're going to give you opportunities. It's up to you to make the most of the opportunities. That's my piece.
Okay. So I'm going to directly address the post. I didn't like it. Feel like it wasn't fair. Now look at, okay, they had a picture of Jalen Hurts walking on the field against the Chiefs and a picture of Cam Newton walking on the field against the Broncos. See, and it said this is how you basically bounce back, right? And we said like, it's 2 ways to respond, right? Mm-hmm. And Jalen Hurts obviously is a positive one because he responded and won a Super Bowl 2 years later, and Cam Newton did what he did. Now, if you think about it, right? If we comparing for real, let's compare. And this is not me taking that away for Jalen Hurts. This is just the post. I think the post was like, it's 2 different situations. Like, we can't do that. Cam Newton won MVP. He was the reason they got to the Super Bowl. He was the guy. They had a top. I'm gonna be petty. They had a top 6 defense. All right, it's the top 6. There was 6 in. There was 6 in rushing.
When I say top 5,
he said 5.
Okay.
It was Parmesan a little better. You know what I mean? It was 6 in rushing. They were actually 4th in rushing, 6th in passing. No, further than that, it was like 10th in passing, but they were number 1 in turnovers. All right, but Cam Newton was the driving force. All right. Jalen Hurts, both years he made a Super Bowl, he had number 1 defense. All right, both of the years. No, he was number 2 his first year. I think the 49ers were number 1, I think.
Yeah,
like,
right. They had the number 1 pass defense that in 2022.
Commanders before. But, anyways, that phone was fluke, for sure. Right? But anyways, so that happened. Then the following year, first of all, offensively, Cam Newton in that Super Bowl year and the year after that, he didn't have a 1,000-yard rusher. Let's start there. Jalen Hurts had a 1,000-yard rusher. Now, you might say it's because of Hurts, but Hurts is more equipped around him than Cam Newton was. That's why I don't like the post. He's more equipped. It's not like when Hurts got back to the Super Bowl, it was like a 2022 year. It wasn't. Y'all threw the ball less than anybody in the NFL. You had a 2,000-yard rusher, number 1 defense, and then in the playoffs, Hurts didn't show up until the NFC Championship game. Literally, against Green Bay, he was non-existent. He went a whole 2 quarters without completing the pass, for goodness sake, against the Green Bay Packers. Against the Rams, don't get me started with that game. He was horrific. And then we get to the NFC Championship game, he shows up. So the situations are just different. Cam Newton wasn't in the same situation as Jalen Hurts. So when we say Jalen Hurts bounced back, yes, he played good in the NFC Championship game, the Super Bowl game. But I hate that statement because it wasn't like he was the driving force the whole season. He wasn't. Now we don't give him credit for what he did in those 2 last games, but he kind of rode along, in the sort of way until he got there. Versus Cam Newton, he had to be MVP again, probably, just for him to get back there. So that's why I didn't like the comparison, because I feel like it's 2 total situations. Now I know people are bringing a different conversation, like who's better, Cam Newton and Hurts. That's a whole different conversation. I'm just talking about strictly the post.
Real quick, not to cut you off. Remind me to come back to that comment.
No, go ahead.
Remind me to come back to it, but.
Oh, and Dave said facts time. But go ahead. I'm done. Go ahead.
Cam Newton could never go non-existent in a game. They would get destroyed. Did we watch Super Bowl 50? Did we watch it? That's Joe, I know you saw it. I went back today before this was a topic.
Of course. Yeah,
before we made it
before
a
the topic.
Before the topic. Cuz this is my thing. I think Jalen Hurts has a few really great traits. Number 1, I think he's smart with the football. He had a down 2023, but for the most part throughout his career, he's been smart with the football. Number 2, he has all the intangibles that you want. He's a gamer, he's a winner, he's a great leader. He's the perfect quarterback to play in a city like Philadelphia. Like, with all the media and, managing kind of AJ Brown's personality, managing your head coach personality, like he's the perfect quarterback for that team in that city, managing fans, like he's perfect for that. But the biggest thing that I hang my hat on, bro, is Jay Hurts got that it factor, bro. He has the it factor. I've been saying Jay Hurts has the it factor since 2020 when he stepped on the field against the Saints for the first time and against the Cardinals. I said something different about him. And I think there is something to be said for that, which is why I cannot stand the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm about to say hyperboles, but it's not that. What's the word I'm looking for? The situations where you put somebody in someone else's situation and look how it would look. I'm blanking on the word for it.
The hypotheticals.
I hate the hypotheticals because everybody don't have that it factor, bro. So let's go back to the Super Bowl. Remember how I brought up the fact that Cam Newton turned the ball over a lot throughout his career. It reared its ugly head in Super Bowl 50. He had 3 turnovers, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, if you haven't seen it, like I said, I went back and I watched the game. The whole game. Play for play. They got a condensed version on YouTube. They're starting to do that now. They're starting to do condensed versions of games, and it's the best thing ever. You can watch a whole game in like 30 minutes. It's perfect. They give you every single play. And I'm watching the game, and I am sitting there like, that defensive line for Denver is like that. They out there hitting. Like, you could tell that the Panthers as a team, before I get to Cam, you could tell that the Panthers as a team, they just didn't seem ready for the Broncos. Like they hadn't seen a defense like that all year. And if you remember, on the way to the Super Bowl, they was kind of suffocating everybody like that. Like they was like that. Von Miller was on a tear. Like, it was crazy. But what I come back to though, bro, is in that game, the Panthers were down 10-16. Ball in Cam Newton's hands when he gets strip sacked and doesn't jump on a fumble. But let's not even focus on that. The only reason why it's 10-16, Joe, is because when it was 0-0, he got strip sacked again. Not from the blind side, or 3-0. Yeah. Not from the blind side, but from the front. You got a guy running right directly at you, Von Miller. You misjudged his speed, what it looked like to me. It looked like he thought he had more time than he did. You got strip sacked and they run it in for a touchdown. It's the only reason why you're down 16-10 in the first place. That defense that was number one in turnovers and what you say 6 in pass or top 10 or whatever. They was stifling the Broncos. Peyton couldn't do nothing. They was settling for field goals left and right. They got their touchdowns because Cam gave you the ball 3 times. You know what else happened in that game that I noticed? They stuffed the run. It looked eerily similar to 2 Super Bowls I've seen in Jalen Hurts in, where the Chiefs stuffed the run. Saquon Barkley, you not getting nothing this game. Jay Hurts, you gonna have to beat us. Hey, Miles Sanders, you not getting. Matter of fact, Miles Sanders, I can't remember how many touches he had. He fumbled on one play. They dumped it down to him on the check down. He fumbled the ball out of bounds. And I didn't see Miles Sanders the rest of the game, which is a big part of the reason why Jalen Hurts didn't set the rushing record in the Super Bowl for a quarterback twice. Because he's the running back. He's the quarterback and the running back. Because your running game not going, Jay Hurts, you're going to have to find a way to beat us. And both times, first time he didn't beat him, granted, but he played a sensational game. He did give him a turnover and a touchdown, but it wasn't 3 turnovers. And in the second game, he did give you a turnover, but he turned the ball over on the Chiefs. What was it? I think it was 10 or 15-yard line, giving the Chiefs the opportunity then to have to travel the whole field. It's not like you turn the ball over in your own territory. What I'm saying is you can have anybody you want on your roster. At the end of the day, you got to go get the job done and deliver in the biggest moments. That game was there for Cam. That game was there for Cam all game, bro. All game they was waiting on Cam to make a play. Cam failed to make those plays. Now, to Cam's credit, he did have some drops in that game. But for the most part, when I rewatched the whole game, I'm like, Cam, you did have opportunity. You had running lanes you could have ran through. You trying to sit in the pocket, almost like he had a Lamar Jackson moment, where sometimes Lamar, sometimes he don't know if he want to run or if he want to throw. He was mistiming the speed of the defensive line. I go back and I look at the history of the game, Joe. Bro, how many years did Peyton Manning have Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison, Dallas Clark, Adrian James, or Joseph Adai? You know what I mean? A great offensive line, playmakers on defense, and he failed to get to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl? How many times Aaron Rodgers got that Super Bowl, right? The first one. And then multiple years after that, they was the number 1 seed in the NFC. Multiple years. Aaron Rodgers, MVP of the league. You got Devontae Adams you throwing the ball to, or you got Jordy Nelson you throwing the ball to. The Packers are the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Similar to how the Panthers were favored to beat the Broncos, but we'll come back to that. How many times did Aaron Rodgers fall short? Sometimes it was the defense. Sometimes, it was situations where, like against Seattle, they failed to get the onside kick, and it was wild stuff going on. Sometimes you had games like when they played San Francisco and Green Bay, and he didn't show up at all in the snow game. He scored like 3 points. I think the game was 10-3 or something like that. But he got a squad, though, and he's Aaron Rodgers. We ain't talking about Jalen Hurts. We talking about Aaron Rodgers. How many times did that happen to A-Rod, right? How many times have we seen Lamar Jackson with a number 1 defense and the best rushing attack in the game, whether it be him by himself or him and Derrick Henry? We've seen that several times. And him not getting to a Super Bowl. How many times have we seen Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis in the top 5 defense not get to a Super Bowl? We've seen several guys that are better than Jalen Hurts, not disputing it, right? That I believe had more than enough, but when it mattered most, they didn't deliver, bruh. So when I go back and I look at Jay Hurts, yes, you got a team, but you still got to go out there and play. Yes, the Chiefs, they have to play. They have to absolutely got a game plan for Saquon Barkley, bro. But I'm not going to insult the Chiefs' intelligence. I'm not going to insult one of the best defensive coordinators in the league in Steve Spagnuolo and say he only had a game plan for Saquon Barkley all game. You didn't have no game plan for 3rd and long. You had no game plan for obvious passing downs because you stuffed the passing game. So what happens when you stuff the run on 1st and 2nd down? It's an obvious pass down. You got 2 weeks to prepare. You got no game plan for Jay Hurts. You got a game plan for Jay Hurts. You got a game plan for Saquon. How we gonna shut down AJ and Spitty? You got 2 weeks. You game planning for it all. Not to mention you played them once in the Super Bowl.
Can I ask you a question though?
Go ahead.
This is a rebuttal from what you said. Like they had chances. Out of all those quarterbacks you named, has any one of them had back-to-back performances like Hurts did against the Packers and the Rams and made it to the Super Bowl? Made it to the championship game.
I'd have to
They
go back
haven't.
and go.
The difference is
I don't know.
No, back-to-back games like that.
And this is another thing I want. This is another thing I want to push back on because the Rams thing is tough for me, dog. Because he got hurt during the game, and in the first half he was cooking. AJ dropped 2 big time pass, and he started the game off with a rushing touchdown, 40, 50 yards.
But that was his only highlight the whole game. The rushing touchdown. I get it. He popped up and ran and scored. After that, he was non-existent. And he was not.
He did take a terrible save. The safety was horrible. It was horrible.
Yes. No, he didn't get hurt. But the reason why I can't justify that because he was bad the game before that. But here's the thing. I hear you saying okay, all these quarterbacks, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, all these guys had opportunities to win Super Bowl. But you gotta think about it. These guys did not roll into the play. See, this will me sound like a Hurts hater. This one I feel like Hurts is hard to judge because I feel like you can either kill him or give him too much credit. You know what I mean? And I feel like we're giving him too much credit because they don't get to the Super Bowl with his performances, bro. Without the number one defense. He was not good, bro, in the playoffs until they got to us. So he don't even get to that point. So guys like Peyton Manning, when they lose, it's because he has to be Peyton Manning. If he's not Peyton Manning, most likely they're gonna lose. He might have a game here or there, but on the top of my head, I can't think of consecutive games when he can be poor and still make the conference championship. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. When Aaron Rodgers loses, it's he has to be good. If he's not good, they're gonna lose. That's how it rolls. So that's the difference. That's the difference to me. Now, am I gonna sit here and say Jalen Hurts? I know we comparing them to Peyton Manning, but come on, man, I can't do that right now. I can't.
I'm not. I'm just.
I know you're not saying. I know you're not directly comparing.
These guys are better than him.
Yeah, I know you're not directly comparing the two. I know you're not.
Right.
But I'm just saying, bro, football is so different, bro. Football is the ultimate team sport. Hurts don't even get to the Super Bowl without the defense, bro. Get there.
But this is my problem, though. This is my problem in that assessment, Joe.
Okay.
Is I didn't seen Jay Hurts time and time again rise his level of play depending on how the game is going, bro. Prime example. Okay, Packers game. Packers game. He not playing well. He got the first touchdown off a turnover. He threw the first touchdown to Dotson. And the game after that it was a mediocre game. But on the other end, Jordan Love giving the ball up.
He was terrible, yeah.
He was terrible in that game, right? Jay Hurts didn't start making plays again in that game until they got close. That's when he started making plays again. It's when they need him, at least in this playoff run and in the 2022 playoff run. Let's talk about those two.
Yes, get 2023.
2020. He had a down year. The whole team had a down year. He also had a down year. I'm not going to excuse the down year. Yeah. And I didn't. If you remember, I didn't let him off the hook that year either. I was on his line. I expected more from him. He let me down against Tampa. That is what it is. But at the same time,
go ahead.
But at the same time, I think he's the type of guy, bro, that if they go down there and score, I know Jay Hurts finna come down here and score. He gonna come down here and put up points. But if the other side struggling a little bit, it's kind of a weird thing with him. It's hard to explain. It's you gotta watch it. If they struggling on the other end, not to say I'm taking my foot off the gas, but I'm extra cautious though. I'm extra cautious because we might win the game off the defense playing well. I ain't got to do too much. I ain't got to go out here. If I fumble, it could change the trajectory of the game. If I throw a pick, it could change the trajectory of the game. Now, some would think you should be trying to run away with the game at that point. And I agree. It frustrates me from time to time. But I know, bro, when he lined up with, like this year, when he lined up with Joe, when they played Joe Burrow, everybody like Joe Burrow going to score. Jay Hurts went off. Last time he lined up with Josh Allen, you got to play Josh Allen, bro. Jay Hurts went off. NFC Championship game. Jaden Daniels. This is the NFC Championship game. Jaden Daniels he's going to score some points. He's going to score some points. Jay Hurts, you got to come out here. You got the ball. And then every turn, for the most part, I say at least 70 to 80% of the time, he going to match whatever the other quarterback on the other end doing. So that's why I look at it like I don't necessarily view it that way. The Rams game is a little different because he got hurt. Defense saved us in that game. Saquon and the defense absolutely saved us in that game because he got hurt and he wasn't moving the same. And it's like if Stafford scored, this game probably over. We got 30 seconds left, but coming back in the snow, probably not gonna happen. But I believe if Jay Hurts would have, if Jordan Love would have had a game, I think Jay Hurts also would have been a little bit more on his P's and Q's. Every time he matched up with Patrick Mahomes, besides the one game in 2023. He on the money, bro. There's something to that. Watch him when he goes up against these elite quarterbacks. He's on the money against these guys. It's just, this is what I mean, though, when I say it's not always pretty, but he has it factor that a lot of guys don't have. And I'm not saying Cam
I think he has that too.
Yeah, I'm not saying Cam don't have it factor. And again, like I said, peak for peak, I'm taking Cam. Let's be clear. But all I'm saying is, the same way other people like to play hypotheticals, bro, I could play the same hypothetical. I could say that if Jay Hurts was in those shoes, he'd have won that game. He'd have won that Super Bowl. Your defense only give up 9 points for the most part. 9,
and you was working with though.
Hurts
hasn't shown that.
And I want to say this too. I get frustrated, right? When we bring up, well, guys. Oh, okay. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that at all. I want to say this though. I get frustrated when we have conversations about what's around Jay Hurts compared to what's around other guys. Because like I said, a lot of these guys that we bring up in these conversations, the Lamars, the Allens, the Mahomes, we all can agree are better than Jalen Hurts, right?
Okay.
Cam at his peak talent-wise, yes. And a lot of these guys, resume too, they right there, right? Cam at his peak is better than Jalen Hurts, and I'm not going to deny that, right? Number one, you shouldn't need as much as Jalen Hurts to get the job done. But the bigger picture is this, Joe.
You know what? Go ahead. I see you on.
The bigger picture is this. Bro, the Panthers were 15-1, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all were 15-1. So clearly you had enough to go 15-1, bro. Even if they went as you went and the defense gave you opportunities and you won off that, you lost one game all year. You're in the Super Bowl and you're the favorite. I can't give you the excuse of what you got to work with. You're the favorite. This is a game you're supposed to win. Mm-hmm. Vegas betting on you. You know Vegas don't lose often, bro. Vegas don't lose often. Vegas don't want to lose often. They putting the money on Cam and the Panthers. They think about Cam. They think about the defense. They think about the rushing attack. And so if you were good enough to go 15-1, I can't then say, well, imagine if he had this and he had that. It can't get much better than 15-1, Joe. How much better could it be? Lamar Jackson, and I hate to keep bringing him up because I'm a big Lamar fan, but Lamar Jackson, you've been number one in the AFC twice. Twice, bro. So you were good enough to win 13, 14 games. If you're good enough to win 13, 14 games, your team, you along with your team is good enough to get to a Super Bowl, bro. It's good enough, bro. You've shown it throughout the regular season. These years, you're the most dominant team in the regular season. How does that not translate to the postseason? It will be one thing if in the postseason, right? Because one thing that came to mind when I be debating, not to switch sports, but when I debate people on LeBron, he had all these great Cavs teams, but then when he got to a certain point in the playoffs, he couldn't advance. And I always go back and be like, bro, look at how Z played in that series. Look at how Mo Williams played in that series. Look at these guys didn't play like how they did in the regular season in the playoffs. I can't say that for Cam. Bro, the defense was showing out in the Super Bowl, bro. Peyton Manning was terrible, bro.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Bro, maybe one of the worst things I ever seen Peyton play. He literally just fell into a Super Bowl because Cam gave the ball up 3 times.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And then the same thing for Lamar. In his AFC Championship game a few years ago against the Chiefs, they was shutting Patrick Mahomes them down in the second half. And he failed to get to offense downfield to score points, bro. Like, that's why I be looking like, yes, Jay Hurts, he got a team. But one thing I can say definitively, Joe, that you can't say about these other guys is, okay, he got a team. I guarantee he get it done. He gonna get it done. He gonna get you to the Super Bowl, and given revisionist history, he gonna ball out. You ain't gonna look at him for the most part and be like, he the reason why you lost. Can't say that about Cam. We think that if he had these weapons, it would go this way. But again, how much better does it get than 15-1? It don't get much better. In the case of Lamar, how much better does it get than 14-3? In the case of Josh Allen, how much better does it get than 13-3 or 13-4, 14-3? Like, it don't get much better than that. You got more weapons, but the results are the same. The wins at the end of the day, you gonna have to show up in that big game, bro. Like, there's something to be said for that, bro. So that's why I'm just like, Jay Hurts he got a squad. I'm an Eagles fan. We got a squad. We got a tank. We got a tank, bro. But like, Saquon was shut down in the Super Bowl. I was looking like, all right, my boy. 2022, I'm looking like, Miles ain't got it today. You got the ball, and he delivered the goods both times. One resulted in an L, another resulted in a dub, but there's something to be said for that, bro. That's all I'm saying, man.
I'm with you. I think the tangibles that Hurts has is better than Cam Newton. And Cam Newton, as his career played out, we saw what he's made up here. You know what I mean? So like, it's just not like where Hurts is at right now in his career. And but I just didn't like the post because I feel like the situations were different. This is, you know what I mean? It's 2 different situations now. Like, how you respond. It's like, if Hurts would have came back and became another All-Pro, and like he lost the Super Bowl and he comes back, become an All-Pro or MVP, and he leads them to the Super Bowl and wins Super Bowl MVP, then you can look at him like, that's how you respond. But like how the season played out and everything, it's just hard for me to look at that and be like, bro, I'm not going to do Cam like that. Like, come on. Now, do I think if Cam was on the team would win? I'm not going to automatically say that because it's not all about talent. You know what I mean? It's about what's between, right here.
It's about showing up in the big
in your
game,
noggin,
bro. It's about showing up in the big game. And I got real quick in the comments, this is what I'm talking about. Might not need as much, but you need something. How much more? If you're the better, nobody answers this question for me, Joe. Maybe you can. If you're better than Jalen Hurts, why do you need what Jalen Hurts needs in order to win?
But not just that though, but like he had 3 turnovers. Like, bro, it's not like he lost going all like when I talk about our game, Jalen Daniels threw an interception at the end of the game.
Right.
So I get why that happened, but I could look at that game and be at peace. Like, yo, my boy wasn't the reason he lost.
He not the reason. Exactly,
nah.
Bro. Exactly.
But Cam Newton, we can say that. And he got so frustrated, he didn't want to talk to the media afterwards. I remember him on the ground, slamming the ground. He was so frustrated at his teammates. Like, he was showing bad leadership in that Super Bowl, and even the post game, he didn't want to talk, for real. So
that's like, come on now, bro. You got the number. If he's a Lamar fan, bro, Lamar. I'm sorry to break it to you. Lamar has had enough to win over the last couple years.
Yes.
Maybe not this past year. Now this past
what?
year you did.
This last year.
I'm gonna say this. Missing Zay Flowers is a big deal. I'm gonna give him that.
I'm not giving him that because he had two. If he ain't turning the ball over earlier, that they would have won that game, bro. I'm sorry. Bruh.
I agree, but like the fumble, the what's the name, Andrews fumble, maybe that's not even his target. If Zay Flowers makes he's like the only other All Pro or I'm sorry, not All Pro, but
then not in that
All-Star.
situation. If Lamar, I'm not trying to make this look kill Lamar, but
yeah,
as a best player, you gotta look at it like, bro, if I don't turn the ball over, we're not in that situation.
I think my biggest thing against him, bro, is the AFC Championship game last year, bro. There's no bro. What? There's no excuse for that game. How he played, and that's why again, that's why I can't. This is why I'm explaining it now for everyone to know. This is why I don't like the hypotheticals. Number one, it puts Jay Hurts in a situation where it's like, bro, he can't win, bro. Jay Hurts is 0-95 in hypothetical situations. Like it's never a positive hypothetical situation for Jay Hurts that he can win. It like AJ Brown is going to be there. Like Devontae is going to like Saquon, like the team is going to be there. So that's gonna be the knock on Jay Hurts for forever. You know what I'm saying? But when we look at these other guys, it's not as if these other guys are balling out and they're not in position. These guys be in position, bro. They be in position and they drop the ball. They make the mistakes. Defense, bro, the defense held Mahomes to like 17 points. This was the number one rated offense in the throughout the regular season. The Ravens were number one, and they put up 10 points, bro. Come on, bro. And he's the MVP of the league. And
I'm not gonna lie.
And then, like I said, in Cam's case, and again, I do think the Panthers weren't ready for that challenge that the Broncos brought. But what I will say is, it's not like the game was out of hand after the first half. And if it was because he turned the ball over. But you had a whole half with the Super Bowl. You got the performance. So I forgot who performed that year, but you got the whole halftime performance to get your mind and your mental right. Okay, y'all, this the adjustments. This how we going. And he came on the second half playing the same way. I mean, that's why I can't. I get the talent, bro, but don't give me just drop anybody in and bro. You gotta have that it factor, so, and you gotta be able to deal with the city, the personalities on the team, the head coach being kind of off his whack from time to time. Like, come on, bro. But
see, that's one thing that made me mad about Cam too. That whole year, he was doing a Superman, he was showboying, and then when they lost in the Super Bowl, he didn't want to talk. I'm like, bro, you can't do that. So I like the bounce back part. Jalen Hurts faced the media after the Super Bowl. He talked. He was Jalen Hurts. When they won, he was the same. He was his monotone, saying he wasn't showboating. Yeah. I mean, he do be doing it gritty sometimes, and he be faking. I know he be doing sometimes, But anyway, but
he do.
But I get your stance. My only issue was just the post. Like I feel like it was unfair.
I agree. I agree overall on the post, because it is two completely different situations for sure.
It's kind of like I'm trying to think of another situation. I can't even think of one, but it's two totally like y'all legit added Saquon Barkley
and it's like
Saquon Barkley.
And us Eagles fans, and I'm a passionate Eagles fan, bro. But us Eagles fans, we be opening the door sometimes for Hurts to get smeared and slandered, bro. It's like, why are we comparing him to Cam, bro? Let his career play out a little bit more. You know what I mean? Let him accomplish a little bit more. Like, we know Cam was like that.
How you put it was perfect. You said Cam at his peak is better, but long term, Hurts will pass him. Like, you put it perfectly. That's why I feel like it's like Hurts is hard to judge him. Some people just, people in the chat is be killing Hurts. Like, he's like all the way down here. He's not even top 5 or top 6, top 7. But then you got guys who elevate him to a level where, in my opinion, I'd be like, all right, y'all, calm down. Like, just calm down.
I get to that. So, I get there sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you're your guy. So we're going to continue to have these conversations literally until he probably retired.
Yep.
Or he has to stack up rings. You know what I mean? Because Tom Brady only won 3 MVPs in his 20-year career. 3. He was three-time first-team All-Pro. All 3 times he won MVP. That's it. Outside of that, he was never considered the best QB in the league. Never.
Yeah.
And he got 7. And he's the GOAT. So at the end of the day, what matters is, no matter how you get it, stack them rings.
Go get it.
So.
And last thing before we move on, we gotta stop acting like, and I get it, the Eagles are, and I told people the Eagles was a tank. That's what also makes me mad, because you tell people the Eagles are great, and they, man, y'all ain't gonna win no Super Bowl. Then we do it. Well, y'all was a super team. I've been telling y'all we was like that. I told y'all this. Y'all like, okay, but we gotta stop acting like we ain't seen. We don't respect and revere quarterbacks that had teams, bro. Because Peyton had it. Now, and I'm not saying he's these guys, but Peyton had a team, right? Kurt Warner had the best show on turf. Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, great offensive line. Come on, come on now. Troy Aikman. I mean, the Cowboys in the 90s, they had a squad. Even Joe Montana, and again, I'm not comparing directly, but even Joe Montana had the greatest receiver of all time to throw the foot. I mean, come on now, like. But let's move on, man. Let's move on, man. Because we
always had number 1 defense on top of that.
I knew you. I saw your brain moving. I'm like, he finna throw something else in. Y'all got it, man. Y'all got it. But hey, man, last topic today, Joe. Woo. We gotta talk about this unfazed matchup, man. We gotta talk about this unfazed matchup. NBA legends, all-time draft. We got to get to it, man. We're going to mesh this up in 2K and see how it turns out. But Joe Jordan, JJ, I do like your team a lot. I'm not going to lie. The team like that. How you feeling about this matchup between Team JJ and Team AJ? And before you start, what was your pick again? Was you number 3?
I was 3rd.
It looked like it. It looked like it. It definitely looked like it.
And then I think you were second to last, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were 7th. Yeah.
Yep.
So, for those who don't know, we did an NBA draft last week on Tuesday. It replaced the unfazed episode that we normally do. So go back and watch it. And all-time NBA draft. And this is the teams we came out with. It was tough towards the end, obviously, like always. But AJ, I'm feeling pretty confident, man. I mean, now I'm not gonna speak for you, but like I kind of like your setup too. I get to that after you talk. But as far as my side, just straight up the matchups, I feel like John Stockton will be a matchup that we will attack. He's an undersized guard compared to everybody on our team. Everybody on our team is 6'5" and above. I think James Harden is 6'5". If not, he's 6'6".
Yes. Somewhere around there. Yep.
But Shea 6'6", 6'7". KD 7 foot. Giannis got 3 7-footers basically. You know what I mean? Well, Giannis like 6'10", 6'11". And then now D Wade. Our mismatch is D Wade. That's our biggest mismatch. D Wade can legit go out Harden. Or we can switch Harden and put him on John Stockton, because John Stockton, I mean, he's gonna be facilitating. He not over here like click like, oh, hey, I got Harden on me. Watch out, y'all. He ain't doing none of that. You know what I mean? He doing pick and rolls and with AD most likely doing pick and roll. I think him and AD would match well too. But and KD and Chris Mullin, that's our biggest mismatch on the offensive side of the ball. Chris Mullin now offensively, he's pretty good. He can score. He now creating on like. He's not the best facilitator. You know what I mean? He ain't the best shot creator, if I want to say, but he can score. And defensively, he's like a Steph. It's my best comparison. Steph Curry, he can get his hands on the basketballs, all ball and stuff like that. He can hold his own sometimes, but at the same time, he's a liability. So they try to hide him in the defense. That's Chris Mullin. So I think KD can. How tall is Chris Mullin? 6. How tall is he?
I think he's 6'6". I think he's 6'6" or 6'7". He's
You know,
not super tall.
KD gonna have that height advantage to shoot over him. I think we taller. I think KD taller than everybody in the squad almost.
6'7", 6'7".
I think he's taller than AD. That's what I was playing, but he ain't saying height probably.
Right.
Giannis and AD. Now, one thing I will say about Giannis and AD: every time they match up, AD shows up. Every time AD sees Giannis, he has like a 40-point 15 game, 35-12 game. He shows up. I don't care what uniform he's wearing. Laker uniform, New Orleans Pelican, he shows up. So I give him that. That's going to be a battle. And I respect Anthony Davis defensively. But Giannis, he's going to get a lot of his stuff off of junk. Like, it's going to be a lot of like offensive rebounds, putbacks, pick and roll, boom. Like he's not going with the Bucks. He's handling the ball a lot. That's not going to be with us. We ain't doing that. You are ball with us, baby. All right. Especially with they're going to have to help John Stockton and Chris Mullin. And then lastly, Kareem and Shaq. Now, this is going to be a good matchup. Kareem has the height, but Shaq has the size. Now, I will say this. Prime Shaq, he ain't playing no top-tier center. I mean, I can't think of not one top-tier center he played against in his prime. I mean, he did go against David Robinson post-injury. That's different, right? He went against Ostertag, Sabonis,
He go up against
Divac. Huh?
The Mutombo too, right? He went up against Mutombo 1 year.
Yeah, he did. I ain't gonna lie. Mutombo, he wasn't decent player that year. He kind of bowled him up a little bit. He dogged him. I'll give you that.
He did.
He dogged him. So Shaq gonna be a mismatch, obviously, but it's gonna be a mismatch on both sides. Like Shaq is gonna have a hard time with Kareem. Prime Kareem gonna be able that hook shot guarantee. And one thing about Kareem too, he can run that flow. Shaq gonna have to run. My boy play with Magic. He run that floor. James Harden Giannis get the ball, Kareem right next to him. So I like what we got. We looking sweet. I'm gonna hear what you got to say though. Go ahead.
I ain't gonna lie. As I pull this up before I get ready to say it, I want to make sure it's accurate. I ain't gonna lie, man. There was a lot of matchups when I was going through and I was looking like, how would I match up with this team? How would I match up with that team? How is this gonna work? So a lot of matchups I felt confident, like, okay, this is what we could do. If I was in control of like coaching adjustments and stuff like that, this is what I would do. For some of the matchups, Chris Mullin, obviously he could be a defensive liability, but you got guys that drafted guys like Clay and guys like Steph. Like, just chase them dudes around. Like, just chase those guys around, and then the rest of these guys can match up. AD can kind of be like a chess piece too, depending on who you're going up against. Like, if you got a guy at the three, kind of here and there slide AD over, make him take the three. Just depends on the matchup, right? I ain't gonna lie, you can't really do that with this team. You can't really do that, because then Giannis is gonna do his thing, right? And so you got to deal with Chris Mullin and Kevin Durant. There's no way to hide that mismatch. Like, you just got to deal with that. In order for Team AJ to win this game, Shaquille O'Neal gotta be that dude.
Going crazy.
He gotta dominate. He gotta dominate this matchup, bro. He gotta be the most dominant presence we ever seen, just like usual. He gotta go out there and dominate Kareem. Sound crazy, but like you said, Kareem is tall, but Kareem he kind of skinny. Shaq, he tend with them skinny guys. He tend to move guys around and you know what I'm saying, finish with those dunks, those layups, those hook shots. And so he has to dominate. But I do look at this and I say, KD, his defense is okay. Like, it's cool. It's not bad, but it's okay. I think Chris Mullins can get buckets on him, so maybe that could kind of balance itself out, right, to an extent. And then obviously, like you said, the James Harden and D Wade matchup. Like, D Wade, I mean, we know James Harden straight Olay defense. We know what that's about. we know that's straight Olay defense. You know what I mean? And so I'm not really worried about James Harden defensively. I think you sleep on John Stockton on both sides of the ball, honestly, because John Stockton, I have to pull it up. That's a 5-time all-defensive player. Now, they second teams, or is it 4? 1, 2, 3. No, yeah, 5. That's a 5-time all-defensive player, bro. So he might not be like an elite defender out there, but he's not a guy that you could just pick on routinely and expect to get a bucket. I know SGA is a great scorer. James Harden is a great scorer. Obviously, you get the matchup with KD, you in trouble. But at the end of the day, it's not like I'm looking at John Stockton like John Stockton go out there and get killed. John Stockton go get his steals. He gonna jump a lot of passing lanes. He gonna get out in transition. His straight alleys to D Wade. And so I'm looking at this like, listen, it is one of the tougher matchups. I'm not going to deny that. It's one of the tougher matchups. But if we run our offense, you know what I mean? Get the ball to John Stockton, let him come down, get AD involved early, get him some early touches, let him get some couple pick and pops here and there, dump the ball down to Shaq, let Shaq dominate, let D-Wade do his slash and get those steals, get these guys going in transition, because KD ain't running in transition, Harden ain't running in transition. I think you got a legitimate shot at taking down this team, but it starts with Shaq. It starts with Shaq. Shaq got it. Shaq and D-Wade, for real, they got to be the two guys to really take this over and bring y'all back to 06 Miami Heat. That's what it's going to have to be, but it's going to have to be like 06 Wade with Shaq, like y'all seen the picture, like 2001, 2002 maybe. You know what I mean? So I think we straight, though. Obviously, I like the AD matchup with Giannis, you know what I mean? Especially on 2K, too. Let me just mention, on 2K, AD is ridiculous defensively, just like in real life. And I also want to say this, little spoiler alert. Now, this is just me playing. I don't know how the computer going to play it, but them three guys up top, man, your guards all the way down to KD, man. When I ran that matchup in 2K, just, you know, black top, man, they was getting exposed, bro. They was getting exposed, bro. Like, defensively, they couldn't really keep up. Now, where you made your ground back is your bigs was playing great. And so that's what made it tough. But them Harden, KD, and SGA from time to time, because John Stockton is quick. It was getting a little, you know what I mean? So, we going to see, man. We gonna see. J-Mo said Shaq got to dominate, bro.
I think your team has a great mix. Like, you got your slasher of Wade. You got your point assist guy who can stretch the floor with the three with Stockton. You got your shooter, Chris Mullin. You got your semi-stretch four of AD. And you got your down low presence with Shaq. I think you have a great mix. You know, now Stockton 6'1".
What'd you say?
Stockton, he's 6'1". SGA 6'6". Like, it's barbecue chicken, bro. Y'all gonna have to switch that. I'm sorry.
Straight post up. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
I get it. Like, Nembhard did a good job, but Nembhard ain't 6'1". You know what I mean? Like,
do you fear Harden offensively more or SGA?
Harden.
Okay. D-Wade got to stay on Harden there, so that's just like the people that's going to be.
I feel Harden. But Harden going to be him and SGA going to switch roles. Okay. If I'm coaching this team, depending on how y'all plan this, if y'all putting a lot of attention on SGA, then I'm going to let Harden run the point. And then relieve or he might run the point, period. Let Harden run the point. I think we don't need Harden to be a scorer, because him as a scorer is ISO. It's ISO dominant. Right. We need him to be Brooklyn Nets facilitator. But if need be, do your thing. You know, you found an opening, go cook. And Harden is a great 3-point shooter, a really good 3-point shooter. So you leave him open, he's gonna shoot. That's one thing I like about my team. My first three, they all good 3-point shooters. And then you got, especially KD. SGA, you know what I mean? He could be hit and miss. And then Giannis, he's my cleanup guy. He's that guy where you can't fall asleep. Like, I feel like everybody needs that guy. Your guy will be probably D-Wade, but he's a shooting guard.
Right.
You know, but Giannis, he cleaned up everything. Every miss, he cleaned it up.
If I'm making adjustments, I might, looking at J-Mo comment and thinking about what you're saying, if I'm making adjustments, I might tell Shaq, hey, you got Giannis, especially if he off ball, because he ain't going to shoot. So, and he ain't got no real, like, post fade, no hook shot, nothing like that. AD, you take Kareem. That might have to be, like, we might have to live with that.
You know what I mean? Kareem, that's guaranteed, bro.
That's true. It's not what you can do. It's not what you can do. That's facts, though. It's not what you can do.
AD gonna be like, bro, I mean, Jokic.
Right.
But
it's a tough matchup. You gotta acknowledge that.
Yeah,
I do. My bad. Go ahead.
Go.
I was just gonna say though, bro. Like, I don't understand what the fans was thinking. You know what I'm saying? Putting me number 7. You know what I mean? Like, man, bro. Like, I was looking at them ratings, man. I almost pulled pulled a Denzel from Training Day. Y'all think y'all gonna do this to me? To me? I almost went off like that, man. But I scaled it back. Man. But I'm like, how y'all not see the vision? But I do get it though. Picking number 7. It's a lot of superstars out there. So, but when
it was a tie between you and J-Mo.
Okay, for 6.
And J-Mo broke the tie. With the chat thing.
Oh man.
Shout out to Bibby.
Who is he matched? I think he matched up with number 3. Oh, see, I like that matchup a lot. See, that's the matchup I wanted.
Yeah, see, matchup
because I can hide Chris Mullin on Clay.
Facts.
And let everything else play out. I can hide Chris Mullin on Clay, but I can't really hide Chris Mullin in this lineup unless you put him on Harden, because Harden not playing offensively aggressive. He just being playmaking point guard. It's the only other way to make it work. And then, hey, D-Wade, you got to do your best with KD. Do your best, but he's small too.
Hold on, talking about you gonna put Chris Mullin on?
Yeah, if Harden is think about it like this. If Harden is your playmaker,
it's tough, bro.
I know, but you gotta I'm thinking like a coach. Harden is your playmaking guard, so he not looking to offensively be a threat like that. So all right, that's how I'm gonna have to attempt to hide Chris Mullin. And if anything, Joe, maybe we do that because we want you to go to that isolation James Harden ball. Maybe we want that. Take everybody else out of the game. Yeah. Take everybody else out. Let him try to go ISO against Mullin. So I probably let's switch that, and then it's gonna be tough on D-Wade with KD, no doubt, bro. He just that's face up, shoot over the top, turn around, fade. We just gotta hope D-Wade super scrappy that game. He getting steals. He just gotta figure. But he a better matchup. He a probably better matchup than Chris Mullin on him, even though he's smaller.
But here's the thing, though. If I'm you, I'll put D-Wade on Harden, because especially if he playing point, I'll pressure him outside him. Literally full court. But here's the thing, though. Harden and Giannis in that pick and roll gonna be lethal. Woo!
Yeah,
you saw Capella.
Yeah.
You saw Capella.
Hey, that's
you saw Zubac last year. Zubac was getting buckets with Harden.
But see, that's why you put Shaq on him, so he can't get the blocks like that over Shaq all game. Shaq, and this is the thing. Shaq gonna put you on the deck. Shaq gonna, hey, sit down, young fella. Yeah, he gonna bring back that 2000s basketball. Put you on the ground real quick. Hey, that's the only move. That's the only move you got. If you team, if you my team.
It's gonna be interesting. I know John Stockton though. SGA. Get to your spot. We got you.
Yeah, that's we got to live with that. We got
okay.
Literally
they going 45.
Bro, hey, and it's not a slight towards SGA, but just for defensive matchups, like we gotta live with that. We gotta have to switch. What I would do is Mullin, you got Harden because he gonna be the point guard for real, right? We're gonna leave Stockton on Shea. And then we're going to put Shaq on Giannis and put AD on Kareem. I think those are your – and I think I already said D-Wade on KD. And no, I think those are your best – it's your best opportunity, bro.
Shaq got run out chance,
bro. That is true. That's true.
Shaq be running, though. I ain't going to lie. I think he get a dunk.
He got some athleticism. And then on the other end, we got to try to dump it down to – you know what I mean? And then make – hey – Giannis don't really guard like that well on the perimeter. So AD, bring him out. Bring him out to the perimeter. Let's have this dance on the perimeter. Get to your elbow. Take a couple threes here and there. Step backs. You know, what team AJ needs, they need AJ in the huddle getting them together. That's what they need. That's what we gonna do, y'all. This are adjustments. That's what they need, man. But unfortunately, I ain't gonna be able to do that. So legends, you're on your own. You got to figure it out, man. We got to figure it out.
Hey, real quick before we wrap up, I was watching the 2000 Lakers when they beat Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching that game with Kobe. You know, did
right.
All right. You know, he had a messed up ankle, so he was like all easy and early in the game. But it was funny because I forgot the big. The big for Indiana. He got like three.
Rick?
Yeah, Smith, something like that.
Rick Smith. Yep.
He got like 3 buckets on Shaq, like cooking Shaq. And then like everybody crowd going crazy. The commentators like, "Oh, you get the best of Shaq." Bro, Shaq at the ball, bro. Spin move. Just straight dunk on him. I'm like, God. I mean, I'm talking about like half of his points are like that. Like half of his
Yeah.
points, him dunking on people, bro, and it's so normal. And he would dunk on you, he gonna celebrate, he dunk and just run right back down to the other end.
Yep. That's Shaq.
So Shaq gonna be a problem, bro. I know that because prime Kareem, well, all his years, he's skinny,
Yeah. He very skinny. Yeah.
but he is
So,
tall, and he led the league in blocks multiple times. So
what
Get that length.
we hoping for is AD stretching the floor a little bit, hitting some occasional threes. But what we really hoping for is when we dump that ball down to Shaq kind of taking advantage of Kareem. Y'all start to bring a few doubles here and there. You know, you bring KD over. Oh, now we slinging it out. Sling it out. 3-point shot for Mullen.
Oh,
You
we
bring
can double?
Giannis over there. Double. Okay, now we swinging it 80. That's the mid-range to a 3-point shot. That's what we hoping for. That's why I say it's got to start with Shaq. It's got to start with Shaq,
You know what?
bro. Y'all start doubling Shaq, it might get ugly. It starts to get
Hey,
you too.
James Harden, go double. I'm just playing.
D-Wade,
inside joke.
one dribble pull up, D-Wade. You gotta rely on it, man. You gotta rely on it, man. Get inside the arc, bro.
That was
Yeah.
funny. All right, cool.
Yeah, let's wrap it up, man. Yeah,
Let's wrap it up. All right, man. My last words. Great show, AJ. Like always, man. Great show. This was fun. And team that was crazy. I told y'all the matchups were like then seeing Vaughn versus J-Mo. I thought that was good. That's a good matchup too. You know, so but shout out to everybody on the Tour Network. Shout out to everybody on full timeout. All right.
Yep.
And make sure y'all like the video, subscribe, do what you gotta do. But NFL season is here, man. I don't have my jersey right here with me, but first of all, the Kings, we got Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah.
And we might get Westbrook too. I think it's actually gonna happen. So we got
How
the
you
point.
feel? Real quick, how you feel about if y'all get Russ? You like that?
I'm okay with it. I feel like what we're trying to do right now is not tank.
Okay.
We're trying to develop a culture of getting a habit of winning games. Not saying Russ and Dennis Schroeder going to lead us far, but like at least it's showing the fans that like, yo, we're not trying to just tank and plan for next year. You know, we're building from here. We're creating a culture, and I'm cool with it. Russ gonna bring some excitement. I get to watch Russ 82 games straight and really dissect Russ.
Right.
But it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be fun. If we get Russ, it'll be funny to be a Russ fan for a year. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know, so I'm looking forward to it if we do get him. But yeah, GM, okay, you know, I'm not gonna see him so far. You know, keep doing your thing. Commanders though, woo! So excited, AJ. But my boy Terry ain't signed yet. Like, what's going on, man? My boy not signed yet, man. Like, his camp came on again and said that he's frustrated, which I think is his camp saying that. It's all about. Once again, I told AJ this behind the scenes, and I said it on air too. I'm waiting until training camp, and training camp is at the end of this month. So if he's not signed by training camp, I'm worried for sure. And I'm honestly thinking that we might probably trade him. You know what I mean? Like, what if we sign him, I'm cool with that too, but I just don't like that lingering in the all season. You know, now although Terry and JD5 already got the rapport, that's one plus. It's not like it's in his first year. They already got the rapport. But I saw what happened to CD and that. I saw that. You know what I mean? Like, they got out to that slow start. It went into that Giants game when CD went off. So they got to a slow start. So, but Jamal Chase didn't though. So, you know what? I'm good. Jamal Chase came out smoking.
He did.
Triple crown. But he didn't get paid. He didn't get paid though. So that's all I got.
I feel that. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any world where he not signed, bro. I still, even training camp, I would be a little concerned, but I still wouldn't be like, they gonna trade him. It's no way, bro. I don't see that in a million years. I think you lose much more than a player in trading Terry, bro. Like, you lose a leader, you lose leadership, you lose a vet. You know, you lose somebody who's been a staple for the franchise for years. That ain't something that you want to lose as a new GM. It's just not. So I'm shocked that he hasn't signed yet, but I will be even more shocked if they traded him to like Philly for Jahan Dotson or something. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. just add to the super team. Just add to the super team. But
before you continue your last words, I don't think they're gonna trade him, but I'm saying that's on the table.
I feel that. That'd be so crazy. That would be so
TJ
crazy.
Watt. What?
Would you rather have TJ than Terry?
I wouldn't want D-Wall on number one receiver.
So you would if that was the trade, you would.
I'm actually cool with that. Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I'm cool with that. I think offensively we can make up for Terry. We don't have to be number one. If we get TJ, bro. Even
with TJ's injury history, Scary, he available all the time.
I'm Trevor. Scary, I'm with you 100%, my man. Let's clip that out. Terry, I don't care who it is. We keep it on. He gonna be here when we get that bowl. Go ahead.
we might have to clip that part out too. I had to clip that out too. But no. Last words again, man. Shout out to the R2L family. Shout out to everybody watching on my channel. Full time out. Shout out to everybody watching on all of the platforms. We appreciate all of y'all. Lakers. As long as we utilize our talent, I'm not mad at what we've done so far. Getting DeAndre Ayton, and getting what's the big we just had last year that we wouldn't play. I'm blanking on his name right now.
They got a no trade clause.
They got a no trade clause.
Jackson Hayes.
Like, if we played him, I think he's still a serviceable big in certain situations, but you just got to play him. I'm actually not mad at the fact that we re-signed him for a year because it's just another big on the team, but you headline it with DeAndre Ayton. I don't think DeAndre Ayton is this big-time difference maker, but if you could just give us 10 boards a game, that's all we need. So I'm not mad at it. I needed them to go get a big. They went and got a big. I still want some wing help to help out with Luka. I'm hearing great things about Luka right now. Like, he ripped, he in shape, he like everything coming out about Luka right now is super positive. So I like that. Shout out to Luka. We talk about Bron another day. Like, Bron, that whole situation with LeBron, bro, if you want to go, you shouldn't have opted in. It don't even make sense. But we talk about that another time. But overall, I like what the Lakers have done this offseason. I can tell we trying to move towards the future. And Eagles, man, like, it's been nothing but positivity coming out of, OTAs, what players saying on the side. It's been nothing but positivity. And one thing I will say is one thing about my dog, Jay Hurts. When he get hated on is when he rises to the occasion the most. So as much as I complain about it, keep it coming. TJ Houshmandzadeh has something to say. Paul Pierce talk. He got something to say. All the Cowboys fans, Commanders fans, all the haters that got some. All the people that's making the rankings, he number 8. He not even in your top 10. He number 20. You can put anybody on this team. Keep it coming. Because Jay Hurts, he see it all. Even Peyton Manning paid me. He said, Peyton, I'm not in your top 5. Okay, like, keep it coming because that's what draws my boy. The moment y'all start heaping praise on him, then it's like, all right, he might have some down games. But as long as y'all slandering him, that's when he come out and play his best, man. He hit y'all with the... This what y'all was waiting on. He hit y'all with one of those, and it's all to the races, man. So, like usual, man, I like what the Lakers are doing. Well, not like usual, but I like what the Lakers are doing. But the Eagles, man, Jay Hurts, they keep me unfazed, man.
Unfazed. Let's go. Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all at the next episode.